Time to clean the no maintenance tank.
Mark it out.
Looks like we got some work to do.
What's up, fish tank people? Dustin's Fish Tanks bringing it to you in front of the no maintenance tank. Literally, no maintenance has been done, and that's why it looks like crap. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing this during while they're in operation here, so it's not exactly easy for me to yell and scream like my normal happy, enthusiastic self about the no maintenance tank. But in today's video, I'm going to unpack some of how we got to this mess. I haven't touched this tank in a very long time, and we'll show you how easy it is to clean up. Here we go. First things first, you want to use the siphon and just get all the bad stuff out. As you see, I ran down Harrodsburg Road with the giant siphon. So we're going to get all this out here and then run it to the back and get this started. We're going 70% water change here today. More than I like to recommend, but desperate times call for desperate measures. So we'll get this going here. We got a mess on our hands here. But how do we get to this mess? Let's talk about it. Well, first things first, I do not control the lights on this tank. They're on 6 hours a day, but there is extra light, ambient light all over the place here. They keep the blinds closed, but that doesn't protect me from that hallway light that's always on. So that's, when you run your lights too long, that's what you get. Additionally, this hasn't had a water change, which is my doing or lack of doing in a long time. And since there's been no water change, there's been no replenishing of the nutrients. How can I tell that? Look at this kabamba right here. It's doing good, but it's got some deficiencies here and there because something is missing from the water. So, or whatever's missing from the water is keeping that plant from growing. It's giving it the yellowing or whatever. But what it's not doing is this simpler algae is able to grow despite the lack of nutrients that are keeping the plant. So if I had the extra nutrients available to the plant, it might outgrow faster than the actual algae. But since the algae has overran, we have to clean it all today and get some new refreshed, replenished water in here while we scrape off as much of this algae as we can. Luckily, this stuff comes off fairly easily. You've all been here. Don't act like any of you have not had algae before. Maybe not this severe, but then again, I haven't touched this tank probably in 2018, so it is what it is. I want to show you this here. This is the Bucephalandra, also showing us deficiencies right here with the yellowing of the leaves or whatever. So that's something we have to use as our guidepost of what's happening in this tank. I mean, it's real simple, folks. It's a lack of water changes. So we're doing the big algae removal. There is no substitute. You can't just go get some algae eater and expect them to eat. I mean, I couldn't eat all this algae if you put it on a plate in front of me. So we're just gonna manually remove it all as best we can. Good news is the filter is on. FX4. Running strong. I've come in here before, click links around here, you can see where I've come in before and this filter has been unplugged. Not the case this time. I need a scrub brush. Good news is this longiplumilosis, Apongeton longiplumilosis, is fine and healthy. It's gotten itself down into the substrate. It's doing all right. The crypt is doing just fine. It's a bronze crypt right in the front here. It's doing just fine. This is a special ninja technique right here. You leave the siphon full, pin it over like that, comes back down, still going. Can he come in the video?
Yeah.
Come here, buddy. Come here.
Yep, right.
Come here. Wave. What's your name, bud? Wayne. You like the tank? A mess, huh? Yeah. You want to help? No, okay. You don't need help. It's dirty. Yeah, no, I gotta make it clean. It's a mess. Got some dechlor from our friends at Fritz. It says use 1 cap for every 10 gallons. I'm doing double that because of the ammonia. Why not? Safe to overdose. It's filling. And that's actually okay. That's nitrogen in the water, so that's fine. The temperatures are coming out the same, so we're good. Now we just got to fill. The problem is the FX4, if you slide over there, has kicked off, so we got to get the water level going on that. Those of you not following me on Instagram, this is being done live on the Easy app. Andrew will link it up in the comments how to follow me on Instagram if you're not already. And I'm checking the temperatures here with this, come down, because I want to make sure this water's coming out, because this is coming full blast. I don't want to do a big swing on the fish, and they're okay so far. So, and it's getting a little cold. I'm going to turn this up. Actually, it's a little too cold coming out. When you're doing big water changes, you never want to have the temps too low, too big of swings. Small, like 10-20% water change doesn't matter that much, but on a 50% water change, you could jack the fish up pretty bad. And they hate temp swings. Those fish are obviously fine. So I'm going to unplug the FX4 because it's chugging, and plug it back in because it's kind of sputtering right now. That'll burp it. So you hear it's off. It bubbles out, and now it should let all the air back out. There you go. And then it'll kick off and go off for a minute to let all the bubbles out. Check the temps. It's nice having a cameraman. All right, so temps are good. The chlorination's good. It's quadruple dosed. Still got a ridiculous amount of algae on the tank though. So I'm just gonna stir it. And this is not ideal because it would spread it. If it was isolated in your tank, you wouldn't want to do this, but since it's all over the tank anyway, I'm just going to spray it everywhere and hope for the best. Temp is still good. Here, the FX4 just kicked off. It does that on purpose. It just turned off after a minute, and then it'll kick back on once it allows all the bubbles out. Manual removal. How do you feel about that? And then I don't recommend this at home, but if you've got a big situation with a lot of water needs removed, I'm going to do another little water change while this is running, just to get some more of this nasty water out. See that? That's all the bubbles coming out with FX4. FX4 just kicked back on. It's good to go. And I'm doing another drain right here. You don't want to do this too much because you screw up your bacteria. You could add too much chlorine to the water. But here I'm going to do another 5 gallons or whatever because I've got this other tube running and filling at the same time, which is playing with fire. But a couple buckets won't hurt. Mono shrimp. A little too much work for him. Show them how this is going. This water is going back into the tank here. So check it out. I'm going to leave this duckweed in here, even though the tank has algae or whatever, because the duckweed is fighting a good battle for me against the algae. The tank's got a 70% water change. Now we check the condition of the fish. Are the fish freaked out? Are they good? They're freaked out, but they're good. Temps are good, just based on my hand touching them. Now I gotta scrape the front and then let it settle a little bit. But I am gonna keep an eye on the fish while I'm doing this. They seem okay, but... And when you don't have an algae scraper, you make do with a ruler. Actually works pretty good. See how it's coming off there? 1 hour later, coming in to make sure all the fish are fine from the epic water change that we did. Everybody seems okay. Still a ridiculous amount of algae on here, but it's better than it was. It's time to keep trimming it a little. Okay, so here we are an hour later. It's a lot more calm and soothing here because they're closed. And I want to show what's going on, and you guys can see that the algae has been reduced. It's not eliminated, but it's certainly been reduced. And what I'm going to do to continue to fight it, because look, I haven't touched this tank in 2018 as far as I know. So yeah, manually remove as much as you can, get it gone. Fast growing plants are going to be your best friend. This is Longiplumilosis. This plant has grown in front of my eyes during the water change. Bucephalandra, not a fast growing plant, not going to do you a lot of good when you need a lot of effort. Notice the bubbles coming off there though. Clearly it's a happy plant at this time. Notice the growth on the bottom. It's still growing, it's still doing stuff, but it's just not going to be that fast grower. What's the fast grower? The algae. What's the fast grower? The moss that I left in here. You can see the FX4 has sucked in a large portion of all the algae. I'm going to pull that off of there and get that cleaned up more because we want to just kind of get it out of the system. So I'll pull that off of there. And what I would do is kill the lights for a couple of days in here, but I'm just going to reduce them back a little bit more. So the fish, most importantly, are okay. I mean, they got a brutal, huge water change, and the fish seem to be fine. So that's where we are, but it is time to add a few more plants. Okay, so I'm bringing you guys into the bathroom here to show you some of this Bacopa Yellow Flame. This looks like browning. That's actually redding. It's a strain that our nursery that we work with in Asia has developed to give it a more red look. This has been under 175 watt metal halide, so it's going from 175 watt metal halide into 4 overused quad high output T5s. So it's not going to get nearly as much light, but it's Bacopa, and Bacopa is super hardy and a rugged plant, and I feel like this is going to be the good way to go. You'll notice I've got 1, 2, 3, that's a portion that we sell. 1, 2, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stems in here. So we're going to undo all of these, and I'm going to individually plant these throughout the no maintenance tank. So we've got the Kabamba and we've got the Bacopa, and these are going to be the 2 plants that we're going to play with in this tank today. We're going to take these in. I'm going to do 3 stems at a time for these bad boys, maybe 4. A portion like that. And of course I forgot my tweezers. I've got these right here. Notice the good roots on them. I pour the rocks over it so that it holds it up better. When you got algae on your rocks, just flip them over. And if I had more time, I would do an additional water change, but I might just come back in tomorrow and let everything settle. And once everything settles, you come in, you do your second water change. And that's how you really get ahead, when you get that second punch. Right now I've only got time for this one though, so we'll just leave that Kabamba in there. Let her roll. And here is how the no maintenance tank finally getting some maintenance. The first time in 2018 is doing. I'd love to give you guys the clear water shot. Everybody that works here at Wonderful Baby Health is actually leaving in a little bit, so I can't come back later to show you this tank clear. But if you hit the subscribe button or that notifications button, you can get updates on this tank. Gonna do another morning run and come in here and see how it looks once the dust has settled. Note all the fish are fine because I use a ridiculous amount of dechlor, even though I did a huge water change. And I actually am pretty pumped about the way it's going. Everybody have a fabulous week. Talk to you mañana. And tank on. Later.